Thank you. This evening I've received a lot of advice, and it was all 3 words: keep it short. Okay? Every one of my brothers has told me the same thing. Mikey Giovanel's, almost everybody, and I will try to do that. I will keep it short for you. I want to thank the nomination committee, congratulate the other inductees tonight. It's an honor to be here with them tonight. I feel very connected to this group because a number of the people that I've known for a good part of my life. Tommy Maroney knew my father, who passed away just over a year ago, and you know, they go back to Park Street and did a lot of work on the Tramps committee together. Rex Hamilton, I mean, who has had a bigger influence on the youth of Bristol than Rex Hamilton? I mean, he's had, everybody who's gone through the Boys Club has known Rex. Jimmy Bates and I, we've competed against each other for a long time. We were bat boys for my brother Jim's Legion team when his father coached. We competed in Little League and high school together, so it's great to see Jimmy here. And Mark Noon, who you know, competed against my brothers. I remember on the Boys Club, he competed some great Central High St. Paul games in which we saw you know, Mark Noon, my brother Mark, and some of the Hernandez boys play some great games. Of course, the 1974 Legion team, which was a great ride that summer. Following my brothers, that's probably the first vacation I ever had, was going to Manchester, New Hampshire. That's about all. We were always here playing sports, so we never really had that much time. So I'm honored to be here tonight. You know, when you first get nominated for an honor like this, you tend to think back, and there's a lot of great memories. There's a lot of great games that you remember. There's a lot of times that you remember, wins, losses, and many things. But you know, as I look back and I reflect back, I remember the people. And when it all comes down to it, what you think about are the people that you experienced this all with, because without them, there's not really that many memories. And it first starts with my family, of course. I had parents who believed that education and sports basically built the foundation for your future. And they were very dedicated to making sure that they could provide that for us. Through a great support system, you know, they made sure that one thing in mind: you will attend college, you will do well in school. And that's what we were taught, and that's what we knew. Sports came second, but you had to do well in school in order to participate in sports. My parents sacrificed their time and their energy. You know, my wife Karen and I, we look at 2 kids today and bringing them to Little League and to soccer and to everything else. Imagine that with 6 boys. That's what they did, and they spent a lot of time driving us around. They saw hundreds of games. They drove hundreds of miles, and they washed thousands of uniforms over the years. And I want to make sure that my mother, who's here tonight, knows how much we appreciate all that. Now, of course, growing up, the youngest of 6 boys was always very interesting. There's a lot of stories we could tell, and I won't bore you with all those. But you know, when you think back upon all those times, it was really a lot of fun. You know, the best thing that you have about having 5 older brothers is you really had 5 role models. They taught me about sports. They taught me about life. They taught me about raising a family. They taught me about careers. I've had 5 role models ahead of me. I've had a lot to learn from them. I appreciate all that they've done, and I want to thank them as well. You also think back and you think about all the great teammates that you had, and there were many of them. We played on some great teams, the 77 team that they talk about. The same year we had a basketball team that was 19-1 at Bristol Central. We get to our years at the University of Hartford where we had some great games. In 8 years we lost about 10 games for soccer in those 8 years. We just had great teammates. We had great teams. We had a lot of fun. We had people who were here tonight: Joel Roy, another friend of mine, Tommy Pinkish, who played on our soccer team in high school, some college buddies, Mike Lanahan, Brian Sullivan, and Pat Shea. It's these guys and it's these memories that you sit down and you have a beer that you remember over time, and it's really that what kind of brings together all those memories and all the fun that you had. I also thought about the coaches and and the influence that they had on you over this time. You had a lot of people here tonight that I see. I see Tommy Moylan and Tony Carrier. There were other guys like Paul and Henry Kuchar who were Little League coaches, and Bill McCooey, and of course Al Wilson from the University of Hartford. All these people had a great influence on me. I started playing soccer because I really was just too small to play football coming into high school. And soccer, at that time, we didn't have the Bristol Soccer Club. We didn't have any rec programs. So we started playing when we were in high school, and Tommy Moylan pulls me aside one day and he says, you know, you'd make the perfect goalie. He says, you know how to play in the infield for baseball. You can get in front of the ball. He says, you know how to run and jump because you played basketball. And he said, I've known you since you're a little kid, Mike. And he said, there's nobody who likes to play in the dirt more than you. And basically, that's how I started playing in the goal. I loved it all that time. You know, it's just a simple conversation like that with a coach that basically helped pay my way through college, helped get me to travel throughout this country to play soccer, and just a host of opportunities. And I'd like to thank all the coaches over the years that have dedicated their time and their energy and taught me to have fun with the game. I look at it now that it's time to do my part, and I sit there and I coach and love to coach my daughter's soccer team, my daughter Kelly, my son Sean, and his baseball team and soccer teams in the past. And we have a bunch of people here from the Bristol Soccer Club, and you know, as you go back, as Bobby said, it's time to pay back, and that's what I look forward to doing and spend a lot of time. And I'd like to also acknowledge the City of Bristol, because the City of Bristol has given us a lot of opportunities to compete. You got the Boys Club, you have the Little Leagues, you have scholastic sports, you have the Bristol Soccer Club, and you know, we just produced some very good athletes, some of those that are being recognized tonight. And as I travel and worked in Hartford for over 18 years, you meet a lot of people, and and inevitably, when you're talking with me, we turn to talking to sports. And you ask and you tell people where you're from, and they tell you how much they hated to compete against Bristol. Bristol always produced tough athletes. They're hard-headed, hard-nosed, they don't quit. They're always competitive. Many of you in this room have built that tradition, and it's now being preserved here in the Hall of Fame, and I think that's a great thing. In closing, again, I'd like to thank my family, my teammates, coaches, friends, really not only for what you taught me on the athletic fields, but really how you shaped my life. Thank you.